Welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL here in 2018, Week 7, Day 5 here on Friday. It is a sunny Shanghai. Actually, I say sunny, it's a bit of a typhoon coming in, that's what I heard. It's a bit wet and windy. We just had a lot of Infernal Dragons in the last game. You can see that the teams are ready and standing by on stage. Right now it will be us globetrotting our way over to Xi'an. It will be in fact WE taking on BLG for our final best of 3 of the day. I've brought someone along with me as well. I've got Mr. Rusty by my side. How are you, Mr. Rusty?
Oh, I'm good. Raz got a little bit smarter for the second set. I know he's backstage hearing me, so just enjoy that one, Raz. Of course, no, we are definitely here for WE against BLG. It's an exciting set, not just because it's top-of-the-table clash by any means. Both of these teams are not near their former glory of old, but both organizations do know each other very well.
For sure. How are your arms, Rusty? Because I know that you had a bit of a struggle putting it on today.
That was private information, but since you've brought it up, I couldn't fit my shirt on because I went and did arms at the gym today, and it's meant to be a very well-fitted shirt, which doesn't when you have a post-gym pump. Everyone gets a post-gym pump, Pulse.
Not that much, Rusty. Not the average person.
All right. Fair enough. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it doesn't fit, so I've undone a button just so that the shirt fits me now.
There you go. There you go. We all have to adapt, as do these two teams, Rusty, coming into the last couple of weeks of play, because really we need to see some upswings. And I feel like we've seen that for some of the bottom-of-the-table teams like OMG, but are we really seeing that from like BLG and WE? Because I actually think that we've seen like moments of brilliance from BLG, in fact. You saw them take the series against EDG the other day, but then what have they done since?
So we've actually seen moments of brilliance from both teams. And just to start a bit more broadly, when you actually think about it, from cross-conference onwards, both teams have had an upswing to a degree. And it's not always completely reflected through these standings, but BLG, the first team that you mentioned, they've actually performed significantly better. So they were at 4-11 in regular conference. Since they've come to cross-conference, they are 8-7. So they actually have a positive game record so far, while this match record that they've got isn't all that positive. You can see that both teams have lost 3 out of their last 4 sets. Now, for WE on the other side, they were 4-11 in regular conference. They are currently 4-8, but their last 2 remaining sets of the cross-conference are today against BLG and against Vici, which is meant to be the free win set for them. So realistically, when you look at the trend here from both of these teams, there is an upward swing when you look at them in cross-conference, and then you really have to start to explore more like why that has happened at all.
So why has that happened at all, Rusty?
Thank you for setting me up on that one. Glad you asked. Now, the reason I think they've actually gotten a lot better for WE is that they seem to have a lot of inner turmoil. Whatever it is, the roster hasn't been settled down in stone. And finally, we've seen Mystic start to adapt to the meta just a little bit better. He brings out the Swain. Suddenly, WE get themselves a victory, right? So I think a lot of this for WE is they do seem like a very slow to adapt and slow to grow type of team. And this meta, this split, has just thrown craziness on them. And it kind of has existed for WE since the start of the year. I'm not sure what happened there. But then imagine what was a team that was in turmoil, suddenly gets thrown into a bad patch, and then you're trying to make that adapt and be a good team. So naturally, that has taken a lot of time. WE are finally finding themselves, and they've even brought in a new coach as well. So WE are taking a lot of positive steps here in the right directions to try and get those victories.
Exactly. It seems like they are making the right decisions behind that as well, I think is the important thing. Because so often we see in the LPL, we see like teams just throw different supposed solutions at a problem, and then they never really line up in the end. Taking a look at WE, you do have 957 in the top, Condi in the jungle, Xie in the mid, with Mystic, as you said, starting in the ADC, also with 694 in the support position.
Yeah, the only one missing from the WE Exodia composition is, of course, Ben, who is just missing completely. We don't know where he is. 694 is going to be the starter. And from the limited sample size that we have of 694, he has looked very good in the support role. He has looked very good with Mystic specifically.
Yeah, so on the opposite side, they'll be facing down Amazing J in the top lane, Chieftain in the jungle with Mo in the mid lane, Jin Zhao in AD carry with Road down in support.
And if you know BLG, everyone knows Amazing J, everyone knows Jin Zhao, and everyone knows Road. So you do have to look towards Chieftain and Mo, the 2 newer players on this roster, and also the 2 most inconsistent players on BLG. Once they find themselves, once they perform well, BLG tend to win those games, and lately, in cross-conference, they have started to perform better.
That is true, yeah. I know they had a shaky couple of games just as a couple of series back, and I think in their most recent sets, they've actually been stepping up once again. So they're a bit of an up and down trajectory between the 2 of them, but you're right. When they're doing well, the rest of the team will. Again, Frosky and I, we've been casting a lot of these BLG games recently. You also look at Road, you know, if Road is doing well, if he's actually managed to get out of the map.
He's the stress test.
He's the driving test, you know. Road, if he's got a positive KDA, most likely BLG are set up to at the very least succeed as you get into mid and late game.
I know Frosky also done a very big deep dive on BLG, and the recipe for BLG does just make a lot of sense. They've always been the same as a style, right? They're a late game team fighting based team, but their weaknesses are always the rest of the game. That how do they get to that late game without being 10,000 gold behind? And when you say Chieftain and Mole being inconsistent, especially lately, they've been good and bad. There's just a higher variance from them. When they're good, BLG win, because BLG have an early game then, and that opens the door to any early game strategies from them. Because one of the biggest strengths that they've always had is Amazing J's ability to teleport to the bottom lane and make a play. He is very good at a snap teleport in a good position, and they always get a pick from that moment. Maybe it happens once in a game, but if Chieftain and Mole are winning, it happens twice, 3 times. Suddenly BLG, they just close out easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, historically, you look at AJ for his entire history, it's always been about the teleports and how he performs in those team fights versus how he does in the laning phase. Of course, when you look at the mid lane as well, you look at how that's going to interact with the rest of the map, where they can get ahead early. Because actually, when you look at BLG, they had the recipe down pat, and it looked great, you know, towards the end of the spring split, because they brought in Chieftain and Mole over Athena, and you're like, okay, great, this seems all be working. All strangely too well, in fact, moving towards the end of the split. They have a good end of the run. It's not, you know, the best in the world, but it's also pretty good, you know, for BLG's trajectory. You come into this split, problems all over the place, left and right. They were like 3-7 the other day. It's like, what is going on now with this team? Right now, it's starting to trend up, but they had it. Now they just need to find it again.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we spoke towards WE. Maybe they were adapting to the meta. Maybe they were adapting to the patch a little bit more. When you look at BLG, and I'm going to come back to Chieftain and Mole, but more specifically Chieftain this time, he plays Skarner and Sejuani. They're the only champions that he really plays, and everyone else starts running around on the Kindreds, the Talias, the Xin Zhaos. He's just playing Talia. He's just playing Sejuani. He's just playing Skarner. He's just trying to win the game with these, what are now off-meta champions, right? So he's had a hard time adapting, and I think that actually very much affects the mid lane matchup, where Mole has been quick to adapt to the new champions. He looked very good in his Aurelia, but the 2v2 was suffering, and from that suffering, BLG strategies were suffering.
Exactly, and it's definitely been a major problem for them recently, because they're shoehorning this pick into the compositions over and over and over again. So here's a question: does he have anything else in the jungle that he can bring to the table that is more on meta? Or hey, even if it's off meta, at least if it's new, it can bring something new to the table, right? Because we've seen the same out of Rogue Warriors. Like, they're not necessarily conforming to the meta, yet still doing very well for themselves, top of their own conference. WE versus BLG here in Xi'an. We're getting into Champions Select number 1. It will be Talia, the Camille, and the Swain taken away. First pick of the Rakan. Opposite side, BLG are going to take away the Tamkens, the Aatrox, and the Braum, and look towards their first pick, which will be the Nocturne.
This is a curious ban phase so far from BLG. You look at WEs and you're like, nah, that makes a lot of sense, all of those champions. Camille very much banned in the LPL all the time, where in the rest of the world starts to taper off in the amount of bans it is seen. So right now with the Camille ban, with the Swain ban, the Talia ban, you look at W and you're like, that makes a lot of sense. And then there's just a Braum and a Tahm gone from the opposing side, taking things away from WE. But then they give over the Rakan anyway, and that's a pretty big priority champion for Rhodes. So it really makes you wonder, like, is there a reason to ban those champions to give him Rakan? And that means to me that they're going to pick something that is very aggressive, like the Nocturne Orianna combo, where a Tahm Kench can't save you.
It's definitely fascinating stuff coming up from BLG, but it's more importantly the fact we were just talking about the jungle, that, you know, why is it Sejuani all the time? Why is it the Skarner? Well, this time he brings out the Nocturne. This is way on meta, and you look towards an Orianna as well, most likely going to go to the mid lane, could also go down to Xin Zhao in the bottom lane as well, but they're actually giving a lot of priority over to this jungle and mid lane duo. WE back on their side, they'll pick up the Trundle, and actually a very early Ezreal. Bit of a signature and historical pick from Mystic.
Yeah, safe AD carry here for Mystic as well. He's one of the few Ezreal approved champions, or players I should say, in our league. Him and Uzi are 2 of the biggest ones. And now for WE's composition with their bottom lane and their jungler locked in, completely ready to go. The second ban phase does get delicate here, specifically for BLG. They have banned 2 supports away. WE have their own support of priority, so now they could target Road further if they choose.
Could do if they wanted to. I mean, you would shrink his champion pool a lot if you decided to do that, in fact. Nart will be the ban out against 957 on the top side. 957 obviously loves Nart historically.
I would actually like to see the Pyke from Road, I think, through the rest of this draft for BLG. Give him some extra pick champions. Now, not surprised that an Alistar will be banned, and this is a big part of why I would say the Pyke. Alistar, Morgana may be the 2 most likely bans here. We'll see where they go past that one. Morgana's surprisingly good into Trundle and Rakan. The reason it's good in the Trundle is that a lot of Trundle's power play comes from the slow after the pillar hits in the first place, whereas Morgana Spelled Shield, you can just walk on through.
Absolutely can. Cho'Gath found against W as well. I haven't seen a ton of Cho'Gath, I believe 6 or 7 games so far in the LPL. 957 definitely can play in the top lane though, and Shen was actually the ban out in the end, so BLG instant hover over the Morgana because it's the one that wasn't banned out for them. Don't have to even go towards, you know, something like a Pyke, hey, even a Bard, we know that he can play it, but in the end it will be a Morgana picking into this one. As you said, it's a good matchup for them. We do have some technical difficulties, but we have instantly solved them, so no problem. W back over to them, they were hovering over Hamiding. I'd like to see it. We haven't seen one in a long while in the LPL.
And where would you put that one, Pulse? That Ezreal
anywhere
already there.
Anywhere.
Not likely to be seen. Of course,
Nah.
it is going to be the Kled that is secured here for the top lane for 957. Now, 957 at international tournaments has gone berserk on the likes of the Kled, but usually in the domestic region, he hasn't had the opportunity to do this. He hasn't had the opportunity to pop off, and it seems like WE, they're going to empower him in this one.
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, we're seeing so much Kled nowadays after the fact that Johnny brought it into the mid lane, coming into Rift Rivals. Everyone's just like, it's Kled time. Gimgoon picks it back up. Now we've got 957 picking it back up to the top lane. We've seen it some mid lane as well, not just from Doinby.
And now we await BLG's last pick. And the question to me is, would it be an AD carrier or support? So the Sivir is the choice here for Jin Zhao. There was still a chance that Jin Zhao played the Morgana, and that it was just going to be the Pyke or something of the likes for Road. They still had that flexible capabilities there in their draft. For BLG, they choose the Sivir, and they choose what is very much a press R and run super fast composition.
Yeah, it's almost a bit of a throwback to the old, you know, Sivir Maokai comps, but just as an entire composition all come together. That being said, this is definitely SMLZ's pick. He's picked up multiple times in the LPL so far.
It is, yeah.
He's 100% win rate with it, so don't mess it up, Xin Zhao. Because this is SMLZ's win rate you're toying with here.
Sivir was Jin Zhao's original pick. You know, like he was one of the better Sivers that I have seen play League of Legends when we go back to, like, you know, when he first came into the LPL.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how this one goes. I have my hopes that he will not ruin the current KDA and win rate of SMLZ and what he has set up with the Sivir. You are right, the second person in our league to look towards the Sivir as a viable AD carry option, and with a Morgana, that's just a lot of spell shields everywhere.
To be honest, I just want SMLZ to have him in a pip, and so we can just get his like facial reaction if like the Sivir dies in game. I think that would be optimal.
You could just get a still image.
Cardboard cutout and you get the same thing. Fair. Yeah, and over in Shen we have so many spell shields left and right. Hey, you even have an Orianna in the mid lane who can put a actual shield on top of a spell shield on top of a Morgana black shield.
Let's list it off, shall we? Okay, these are the shields that BLG have got in their composition. They've got a Nocturne shield, they've got a Morgana shield, which can go on anyone, they've got a Sivir spell shield, and they've got an Orianna Command Protect shield. That's a lot, and that denies a lot of specific types of compositions. And the curious thing here is that it'll be decent into the Kled, it'll be decent into the Trundle, and it'll be okay into the Ezreal as well, with the spell shields available against Ezreal's poke, and to the LeBlanc, who's probably going to have the worst time out of the lot here from Team W if he doesn't get ahead.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who'll still be okay is 694. Rakan having multiple sources of crowd control in his one engage. WE, they still have got the engage there.
That's true, but that's a lot of shields. Like, you could theoretically block it multiple times. We'll see if they can do it. It's going to be a Blood Moon over in Xi'an. I'm going to give it over to Xi'an and the crowd, and of course the drums.
In the middle of that, we just heard Mundo
saying he was getting involved as well, yeah. Drums are coming in, it's like, Mundo. And it's like, okay, cool, Mundo, thanks.
Even he knew there was chance going on. W, of course, in Xi'an, it's their home arena. They've got a whole bunch of fans out in attendance every single time. Recently got to visit the arena. It is gorgeous.
You said the drum guy is very loud.
Yeah, the drum
Not just
guy
the drums itself, but he's actually loud.
The man who yells is incredibly loud. The microphone is super far away from him. It sits more towards the front of the audience.
Yeah.
And he is up towards the back. So you don't get to hear the full volume coming out of the chants there, but when I was in the WE arena, it was deafeningly loud. It was an actual roar.
I mean, it's a big stadium as well. I mean, the two new stadiums that we have, Beijing and Xi'an, 700 and 1,000 capacity. Keep in mind that Shanghai is 500. And that's a lot of people. This is a really big arena, so twice the size of it in the new stadiums. Okay, let's do it a bit awkward. It's going to be a knock-up into an all-in engage here from WE. Flash out of the way from the Boomerang Blade, but a follow-up from 694.
Oh, no.
He's going to get the kill and another kill in return.
Jin Jiao wins this though. Remember, BLG through this trade. Mystic has teleport, so he'll be able to teleport back in. Road does not. So, as the current winner, Jin Jiao being the only AD carry that was left alive, he'd feel real good for himself until he realizes that he doesn't have a support to come and assist him to support him through that. Though he does get the kill, so the trade-off is that on your first recall, that Civil will be feeling very good for herself. We'll get to see the fight again. WE, they're on the other side of the map. They are the ones engaging this fight, but Mystic, he just stands and delivers a very late flash coming out of the AD carry of Team WE. And the support, of course, Rakan flashing forward, securing that Morgana.
The interesting thing that WE could have jumped on Jin Jiao if they wanted to. He was like literally breathing down their necks. He was that close. But they chose to go on the support right there. It was a conscious choice to jump on at 6, 9. This is the first time I'm actually casting WE with both of these damn
957, 6,
try codes. Yeah, so this is going to mess me up. Because I'm like, number name, 957, not 957, 694.
Ben 2.0 is the support. Actually, Ben 3.0 because they've also got a support named Missing.
Oh,
he's currently not here today.
He's missing.
Trundle in the bottom lane. Jin Jiao has no flash. So Condi can definitely get this gank off. The pillar just needs to connect, and they have hit the mark.
Indeed. Oh, Condi chasing down onto Road. That was a great pillar as well. Pillar of Filth will secure the second kill. Condi chimes in with that one.
That was a very weird cut there. We just come back to Condi, who was looking at Jin Jiao, and suddenly Road is dead. I'm not too sure how Road found himself wandering into that position very freely, but
pretty much the life of Road, to be honest.
Here's
like, oh, we panned down and he's dead.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Road's nicknamed the Wanderer. Definitely not the Traveler. Remember that those are two different things. Sometimes Road doesn't actually know where he's going. He just wanders off and finds himself dead. Condi in mid.
Looking for another gank. Great Pillar of Filth once again. Shea jumps forward. It's going to be a flash forward on the top lane. Triple man collapse. Drops the aggro from Scar. What a bro. Finds another kill. WE running away with this early game.
That was actually really clean from Team WE. Kled coming down from the top lane. Doesn't teleport in. Does use the flash, but gets the kill for it. So he can teleport back to lane, feeling really good for himself. And Condi's just gone from bot lane to mid lane with successful gank to successful gank. And suddenly, the camera just pans to Chieftain. Note that he hasn't really been able to have a presence at all. And it's not his own undoing. It's that the team are dying around him just as much.
I mean, he's looking left and right and everything's on fire. Mid lane dies, bot lane dies twice. Road fails his driving test. And we're 35 to 65% in WE's favor. I can definitely see it so far. Chieftain in his side of the jungle. Honestly, probably looking towards level 6 right here and seeing if we can get Paranoia off.
I mean, when you look at the champion matchup in the jungle as well, Condi can get those ganks off super early with the pillar. Trundle's one of the best level 2 gankers in the game currently. If nothing else, forcing a summoner spell right out of the gates. Whereas Chieftain, he can look towards getting a gank off. I like comparing Nocturne to a Mumu because people understand a Mumu. Like, if you get double buffs, yeah, if you get doubles though, you can gank before level 6, 100%. You just need to hit the bandage toss. Same thing with the Fear. The Chieftain, in this case on the Nocturne, may have to flash to secure that one. Whereas at level 6, you're on top of the target. So it is a lot easier to make the plays and hit your ultimates. As Road, we get to see how a level 1 Morgana just wandered into the open arms of Team WE. Because that's literally what that was.
Yeah. It was a bridge drop. He was just sat there, waiting for some packs.
Gave him a hey guys.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Condi now level 4 I should say, 1-0 and 1. Doing very well for himself in this early game, and more importantly, set up his lanes as well. Bottom lane, yes, the kill didn't go over to the AD carry, but Rakan's got that one, Jungle's got a kill, top lane's got a kill even from the rotation to mid lane, so everything is going super well in this early game.
WE are doing it as a team.
Yeah.
That's the big takeaway from all of this. Condi now looking back towards mid lane. Molno flash. The
dodges the chains, yeah. So he should be good, though. That's a pillar landing once again. Chieftain with the counter gank. Teleport going to be completed by Amazing J, as the play has already fizzled.
It's really hard to catch a Trundle when he's got that filthy ground. He moves a bit faster with the Contaminate. So hard to lock him down. Teleport used more as like a safety measure, but I'm super surprised that he followed. It must have came from base. I didn't actually see where the teleport was coming from. Nonetheless, he's able to walk it out with some Ninja Tabis back towards the top lane. And he's actually in an okay position in this top lane when you really think about it. Down in levels, doesn't matter too much because he's got the Tabi and there is no item spikes on the board just yet for 957 on his Kled.
Yeah, not just yet, but he is looking towards, of course, his first item. He really starts
Chieftain
to
is
spike.
almost level 6 too, so...
He is, but he's also looking possibly dead, because he places down the Dustbringer. He's going to be okay, caught on the pillar in the end, and bot lane was rotating.
Maybe a miscommunication from WE, I feel like, on the backside there. 694 was in a very threatening position, moving forwards to go for the knock-up, but the Trundle Pillar connects as he starts to just leave the area. So don't even get that opportunity. Now, Chieftain, by surviving, will feel very good for himself by not using his flash even better, because he is a single camp away from level 6 and just crests over to that mark with the Gromp secured. So what you would do now if you're a BLG, you hit your level spikes, you now hit your item spikes, and you make a play. Mid lane is the obvious one, though it is super hard to kill a LeBlanc. There's actually a chance that they just unlock Mole to go elsewhere on the map.
It's possible. I want to see BLG make some more proactive moves. I know that they're being battered down in this early game. But again, that's a great shield coming in from Road. He's now very low on mana, and Jinjao took a lot of damage on the backside of that. It seems like in these 2v2s and the 1 versus 1s, it almost seems like W are playing with more confidence. You know, since the last time I've seen WE, there's a big change between how they're just approaching the early game.
There's a certain sense of bravado behind their current play compared to what it used to be. They did feel very defeated and very flat in prior weeks.
Yeah.
WE looking reinvigorated, let's say, coming into this one, looking much better. Now, Condi and Seer trying to find Mole. The blue buff is up in under 20 seconds. That may be what they are eventually going to look to. Oh no, it's a great egg timer, my bad. It's a little while away. They were just trying to find him.
Yeah, maybe they're
the screen's really far away.
That is true, the screen is far away. But you're the one with the glasses, not me. But yeah,
Glasses aren't magnifying glasses.
Well, why not?
Well, that's
I'm just
actually
saying.
a very good question.
Yeah. Like, monocles. We should bring back monocles and make them magnifying glasses. That's what I'm saying.
The scientific ones that have like the fold down glasses.
Yeah, we could just attach them to normal glasses. This is $1 million idea. We should just ship this. I'm going to quit my casting career. I'm going to make magnifying glasses.
I'd say
I'm going to be rich.
Your day job, but you've already committed.
I'm go to Dragon's Den. They'll take it in a heartbeat. Isn't the American one different? It's like the Shark Tank or something?
Yeah, Shark Tank.
Yeah. Do you have one in Australia?
Nah, we just watched Shark Tank.
Oh. Really? Why don't you watch Dragon's Den?
It's an Australian Shark Tank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have sharks in Australia as well.
Ah, right, okay. Do you guys have like a version of The Apprentice too?
Ooh. I didn't watch a lot of TV. I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
So I was usually watching video games. But I don't think so.
Oh, okay. That's a bit sad. Anyways, BLG actually looking towards Chieftain. He's aggressing into the enemy jungle. First practice move I've seen all game, but now he's level 7, so he's got the paranoia. He's hovering around mid lane.
So as the place to look towards, we mentioned that it's a potential gank. Now, Xie does have his distortion and he has the flash to avoid Orianna's shockwave. That's what makes the gank so difficult to execute. But when you actually think about a Nocturne and Orianna combo, if any of the CC connects, the shockwave even, then the fear hits, and suddenly that is a super dead, super fragile LeBlanc at that.
Indeed. He's constantly looking for these opportunities to head into the enemy jungle. See if he can duel the Nocturne, because he'll definitely bash him in a 1 versus 1.
I still think that you go towards bot side, you know? Like, this is spotted by BLG. I 100% think they should be coming to contest this. They've got blues. They're grouping up.
Teleport for the double down here. They're completely splitting apart BLG. If they want this one, they will have to pincer their way into this fight, but they actually just choose not to contest whatsoever. And that will be WB taking the first dragon in the game. It's an Infernal in the bank.
You know, it feels like they're super reliant on Amazing J coming down. Now, the Mundo doesn't have teleport, so he's not going to be able to come and assist the team directly, but he had walked cross-country from top lane and was in the middle lane by the time the dragon was secured. So maybe if WE were a little bit slower on the dragon take, they could have been there to contest, maybe to fight, but at the end of the day, I still feel like the capabilities were there for BLG to just commit themselves to it a bit more aggressively. We mentioned the spikes that they had. A blue buff on an Orianna is a lot of lane control, and with that lane control, you should be able to press out, go for the plays.
You think so? Just being a little bit skittish right about now, BLG, and I can understand wanting not to go for a play, dropping themselves further behind, because ultimately it feels like recently they've gone back to the comeback kid kind of mentality in terms of a style for the team. They fall behind early and they come in with a great team fight around the mid game, and then ultimately try and try and come into that mid game and then find the win from there. So I get it, like we want to be more on an even footing, but I mean that's an Inferno Dragon, you know. At the end of the day, it's worth like maybe even sacking a member to try and get a contest.
And their composition does scale. You have a Sivir Orianna late game. That's still going to be a massive team fighting duo. Yeah, you have the Nocturne Orianna combo. So in terms of team fighting, whilst that is one of the hardest to execute Orianna combos, if it does connect, it is devastating because Nocturne gets guaranteed access into the backline. The reason that it's hard to execute is that a Nocturne's ult range is significantly longer than an Orianna's tether range on her ball.
Yeah.
So often you'll find the Mole, in this case, let's say, the Orianna will be sombreroing on top of herself as a party shockwave. Chieftain is left on his lonesome, just wondering where Mole is.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to execute. I've seen a lot of the top teams even mess up from time to time.
It takes so much practice and communication between players, and that's why I think I'm comfortable with it, knowing that Chieftain and Mole have got it. They are a duo. They came in as a duo, they play as a duo, they get subbed out as a duo. So everything is reliant on that fact.
Really down to the execution from here. Sheer over the wall, finds Mole, locks him down. You've thankfully got Road coming in from the bottom side, going to be blocking some of that magic damage on the back end of that. But still, Ignite used by Sheer, and he's completely knocked Mole out of lane.
Yeah, and taking the heal away from the Orianna is a pretty big deal. A nice little trade there from Sheer, and when you really think about that, with all of the extra members of BLG nearby, for Sheer to be able to make the trade, get out very cleanly, and not have to use a flash. Super good stuff from the mid laner of Team WE. He is known for his assassins, the old school Sheer player. Think back to the teleport Diana that we saw from him years ago.
Oh, a long time ago, Rusty.
He's known for it.
Yeah.
And it's good to see him back on it.
True enough. Road finds his way to the mid lane. He's clearing out some wards right now. Chieftain on his own side of the map is going to find himself a red buff, maybe even looking for a Paranoia gank after this.
Has
he used Paranoia yet this game?
No, he hasn't.
No, I don't think so.
WE are not exactly committing themselves to ganks either. I'm not surprised. You know what? If you really like this team, these teams going against each other, if this was 2016, we'd be like, oh god, guys, it's going to 3 games, it's going to be 50 minutes. It's like the Jin Air rivalry of the LPL.
Yeah.
They love their late game team fights. Team W were known as the Elder Dragon team because they win team fights from 35 minutes onwards. They're also a turtle until that point. They poke their heads out, and if someone bops them on their head, they just recede back within. BLG, they found aggression through Chieftain and Mole, where otherwise they were a very similar style to that of Team WE. Yet that style is not currently being reflected in this game. We have not seen a Paranoia, we have not seen a Shockwave, we've just seen a very protracted laning phase with movements from WE mostly.
I actually think that BLG recently more looked like back when you had Athena in the mid lane, and it was actually SKS at the time in the jungle, not Mianhua, but now BLG kind of look like that, but with different players, you know, Chieftain and Mole. And it can work in those clutch situations. I always look at Amazing J and I'm like, he is the clutch player. You know, he is the clutchiest player you've ever seen. You know, when it comes down to crunch time, you think back to the old Team WE and IMA game. Like, obviously that's a big one, but in more recent history, Amazing J will still play out on the occasion. Like the EDG series we saw the other day, he was screaming his head off. Like, that was actually played in Shanghai, and I don't think I've ever heard a player scream so loud it goes from the front of the stage to the back of the arena where we're placed as casters through my soundproof headsets. It's like he was just absolutely insane, and he was just pushing the team forwards. It was 2-0. So like, he is the player who can make things happen, but it seems like they've gone more towards that style than, as you were talking about, the aggression in the early game.
He is the shot caller, he is the communicator, and he is usually the crutch with which BLG find their victories, especially in the later stages. So maybe it is a confidence thing, and it could be as simple as, you know, scrim results. If BLG have been scrimming and only winning when they scale towards late game, suddenly that's the only way they're confident playing on stage, because that could just be the only thing that they think works for them in its entirety. And that's, whilst it's a risk, is something that they're confident in, and it's better to be confident in yourself than not.
Yeah, that was definitely some philosophical advice right there.
Yeah, I chose to keep it open-ended for not just League of Legends. You know?
That's fair, yeah.
If you're going to be a pro player in anything, it's better to believe in yourself.
That's true. True of life as well.
That's why a lot of them have egos. You kind of have to.
Yeah. You got to know that your play is going to work out. I wanted to see if he completed the recall. He did in the end. Jinjao goes back to base.
He's got his Storm Razor, so he's feeling very good in that bottom lane. One of the biggest strengths that Sivir currently has in the Storm Razor meta is that You'll be able to just press W instead of auto attack cancelling with the W, and that first crit will go through the entire minion wave. So really a single auto attack and a Q is the entire wave cleared unless there's a cannon.
Storm Razors by itself as an item has definitely changed the makeup of the bottom lane in terms of the AD carries you can see down there. It's actually pretty cool.
So that is partly correct. What's weird about it is that it's only changed the style of the champion, not so much the champions. You know, like Jin's coming back from it, but we've seen Jin. Jinx is coming back a little bit, but like we all know what Jinx does. What's changed is the dynamic of laning with and against them, is that their first auto attack does more damage than anything else. You have to respect that part of it.
That's fair. Whoop, Sheer, double distortion in. He's going to be jumping away as all the skull shots fly through. Still managed to tag him with the Dustbringer, which drops him down to half. Now Crab is under attack, and we'll see if we can find a contest, because Connie would like this, but it's instantly taken away by Chieftain. It's going to be a ward in exchange. We're now 17 minutes into this game. We had a flurry of action in the early game. Since then, been a whole lot of these teams not really wanting to go toe-to-toe. Again, we have a bit of a technical difficulty, and we're back.
Happy little accidents here on the LPL. We'll get the audio as soon as we can for you guys as well. But as it stands, we're starting to get some big item spikes out from Team WE. We mentioned the Storm Razor from the Sivir that is going to be joined by a Ludens, but that's matched on WE's side now. It's a LeBlanc with a full completed item and an Ignite up and ready. So it's not going to be a 1-3-1 style of split pushing Team WE with that LeBlanc. It's going to be much more of a try and poke when sieging composition. The Ezreal and the LeBlanc working together will be the big thing that you look towards, and the best way to siege is to get yourself a Rift Herald.
That's true. Here comes Road on the bottom side. I want to say it's a little bit eerie with our game sounds.
Yeah, there's a feeling of it's ominous.
Should we make our own game sounds? I don't know what should happen. Well, here comes the teleport. Road, double teleport, going to meet him. Chieftain and Jin Zhao with Mo actually coming up to this play, but they're actually not really going to commit. It's actually WE want to commit right now. They move on to Amazing J, but he's got his ultimate running. They turn back towards the Nocturne. He's in his perfect time, but he will die immediately after. WE did manage to secure the Herald, but now need to get out with more than. But they recommit. Oh my god, Shay from the sidelines finds one onto Chieftain. Looks to turn this one around once again. Amazing J is low, but he has no more sadism. He's dead. Road on a retreat. Jin Zhao low, unable to do anything else. And Mystic, he's actually feeling doing a little bit more right now. Kind of off to the side. Mystic goes huge with his namesake champion. Finds a second kill.
And they'll get themselves the kill on the backside, WE, making it 3-1 as a trade in the end. 6-9-4, tragically for him. When he went for the engage, was bound down immediately. But we'll see that in the replay because WE, they get the Herald as well as the team fight. They get an opportunity to summon it straight away, and that'll be an abundance of damage done to this turret.
Shiet looking for more, jumps onto Mo, fancy assassinate wall, dropped it, no, it's still alive! Drop the potion before that happens, drops the tower with Shelly, and WE just keep coming up big.
Dab Penguin on them as well. Why not? Shiet get the kill in the mid lane, dive the turret. There was no heal for the Orianna. We'll see the fight here again. Note that the binding was immediately on the target. And, you know, continue to look at the binding because it is still on the target. And then the Zonias was used to buy time. But that means that the Shockwave is gone and it only hit a single member. BLG, from this point, with no Shockwave, with Mundo being in the front line, have pressed forwards and opened themselves up to a flank. They're reliant on hitting the picks. If the Morgana binding goes, that's when they could find a target. But they're not able to do that. And they force just a little bit too hard, as in the bottom left of your screen. They're fighting on the top side as well. There's Mystic with a big pop-off, front and center.
There was a bit of a tussle in top lane, but don't worry, nobody died.
That's a fan.
And that's a fan. You know, I feel like BLG this game have been a lot like Spawn's Rabbit Theodore. They kind of like pat down.
That's a fan again.
Prepare for the charge, and then never actually hit the target because they're a rabbit and they only try to threaten their opponent.
Oh man, yeah. So we had a rabbit. His name was Ted or Theodore in full.
Yep.
And he feels threatened when anyone stands near his mum.
Yep.
Who he believed was his girlfriend, I think. But he would just thump the ground with his behind, and then he would run at you. But then he would stop halfway and say, oh, I'm just kidding. But next time, I'm gonna ram you.
Gonna headbutt.
And that's all he would do.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing back that random tidbit. Not sure where that one really came from.
I'm just saying, BLG this game just reminds me of it, so I said it. And so far, WE, I guess, were like you. They just like picked up Ted and were like, all right, Ted, and just threw him on the couch.
Just stare him down.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything. He's all talk.
So you're the alpha.
Yeah.
Though I do think like most of this has been Sheer. Sheer has just been messing BLG up. Like
Sheer
in team fights, in picks. We were talking about in Champions like Rusty, we're like, look at the spell shields. It's going to be rough for Sheer if he falls behind. Actually, probably just rough for Sheer anyway, because everyone has a spell shield.
I mean, yeah, Sheer we said if he gets ahead, it'll be good, right? And
Yeah.
he's definitely ahead now, and he's able to exploit most of his strengths outside of the laning phase. The reason that it could be hard for Xie, and that I singled him out as maybe the hardest in role, is that if WE are in an even standing game and he tries to go forwards, not only will he not deal damage with the shields that are there, there's a risk that they turn it on to him because they've got the confident positioning due to having those spell shields available. And think of it like if you're Jin Zhao, you see a LeBlanc distort in just range of you, you're going to stand there, you're going to crit him in the face with the Storm Razor, throw out the Boomerang and threaten him to stay, but then you're also going to have a spell shield to stop the chains from connecting.
Right.
So it's a difficult task to be Xie, but because he's ahead, he still has the threat of only hitting 2 spells, not even needing a full combo, and potentially one popping someone.
He's definitely at that point already, I think. I think if Jin Zhao approaches him with no spell shield, he's dead.
Yeah, he doesn't have heal either, Jin Zhao. He's gone for the teleport on his Sivir, so it's a bit harder to play into a LeBlanc, specifically Xie having Ignite on top of that. So there's a lot of damage coming out of the mid lane. WE have also got themselves a Gargoyle Stone Plate, and they're in.
Yep, Road was just driving down the road and hits a deer.
Oh my god, he's alive.
Okay, yeah, that was some clenching going on there for sure. Luckily, he had a member in front of him, so the damage from the True Shot Barrage was reduced. If no one blocked that for him, he was dead.
I wonder if that was communicated as well. They stood in front of him just before it to tank it. The smallest of health bars left for Road, and you couldn't even see if there was a shield on him. That's how quickly it would have been taken away regardless. He barely survives. And BLG can count their blessings here that they're able to reset. However, it's WE that have got complete control of the map from that. And pushing forward into the enemy jungle is a very positive sign when the outlook now presses towards Baron.
And now BLG are actually, now out onto the map, which is nice. If that pick had gone down onto Road, then you bet your top dollar
Look how far they got
WE
in.
would have been on at top of the Baron.
The furthest they got is where Condi's just playing Gatekeeper.
Oh, Chieftain now getting caught out. He's got a spell shield on an actual shield. On top of the fact he's got a spell shield, so I reckon he's probably okay.
I have a feeling he's alive.
Yeah.
Jin Zhao also on a side lane against Xie. Not the ideal lane assignments here. Bit of a size mismatch, you would have to imagine, but not that Jin Zhao is small by any means. He's 1-0-1 with 2 completed items. He'll do a lot of damage, but he'll also die quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, he can't stay alive for a long time, whereas Xie is all burst. WE, though, they're still protecting this ramp, and we've been playing a bit of an ARAM just off to the side of the map, just a little bit. And Condi, see if we can find a pick with his team, but so far hasn't really worked out. These spell shields have been quite annoying for them. But Xie, once he joins the rest of the team and he maybe finds someone in rotation, that's how they're going to really open up this game. That being said, WE are still on the aggression. They're going to send 957 to the bottom lane. His teleport has just come back up. So
he's maxed out his wave clear too, having that Titanic. So he's very much online with 2 completed items. You're expecting to see some strong split pushing from him. Now he's not going to have kill threat on a Mundo. Mundo has gone towards Warmog's secondary as well. So pretty much unkillable is Amazing J. However, 957 having very good push will be able to push the Mundo in if he finds the opportunity and immediately leave the lane to try and assist by using that charge.
Yeah, the other thing is top lanes are about to hit level 16 very shortly as well. I know it's only 24 minutes, but these solo lanes have been in a solo lane for a long, long time. So Amazing J level 16 Mundo is going to be quite a big deal in the team fight.
It's a reasonably placid LPL game.
It is, yeah, shockingly.
That's weird to say.
I mean, we've had lots of like bursts of action coming in from WE and BLG, but I think it's only really been 2 times in this game. Like one at the start, and then one around that big fight that we had around topside, where Xie just killed everybody, and that's kind of it.
Just that one big fight in the Baron side of the river is the one deciding factor so far. And I mean, that has forged about a 5,000 odd gold advantage for the side of Team WE. And they're able to use that and slowly start to run away with this game. High hopes for Team WE fans around the world. I very recently went out openly and, like the idiot I am, said 2-1 WE, they'll win this set.
How'd that go?
I mean, I don't know yet because the set's still going.
Ah, fair.
But I'll get back to you when I know.
I'm just saying that Clement bet against me the other day.
Okay, but he also bet for LGD, and that's not me, bro.
Yeah, and he got annihilated. He owes me 10 copies. Unfortunate. That was 2-to-1 odds as well. I was going to go for a full year worth of copies, but I was merciful.
Are you saying you're going to bet on BLG right now?
Nope. I don't believe.
All right.
Well, I believed in Rogue Rise versus LGD. I'd take that bet any day of the week, Rusty, and indeed I did.
Zhao is about to... Oh no.
Wrong time. Activates the spell shield, dodges the chains, still activates the ultimate just in case he needs to look for the turnaround or the escape once again.
Yeah, Xie was actually looking to hit the distort directly on him, expecting Jin Zhao to run through that small choke point. So unfortunately, he does miss the spell that he was after, and then of course the chain's being dodged very nicely by the Sivir. We'll get out perfectly fine, not even worse for wear. Just relatively healthy, and we're going to continue to reset along these lines for quite some time until something changes. The thing that changes is, for WE, they want to hit that pick. You know, if they get a single pick, even if it's just half-healthing someone, not the kill, then they have the opening. And right now, they are actually just going to start this Baron and see if BLG respond.
Rose stepping up alongside Jin Zhao, but there is no Blast Cone right now. Chieftain is over the wall. He has all summoners, including his ultimate, but the charge comes through. It's actually what W are looking for. They want this pick to happen onto Mole, but it's actually Amazing J who receives the ball in the form of a skull. W are looking to back away right now. Bit of poke damage onto the Trundle. And Mystic is separated from the team. BLG have found him. Look to turn around. But what a knockup coming in from the Kron right here. Trying to turn this one around. Now it's a mess on the front lines. In comes 957 to the backside. Blows up his target with violent tendencies. And Jin Zhao canning backwards. These ricochets starting to mount up in damage. But we've got Skull back.
And a really hectic fight results in barely an advantage for either team. Xie still going to look towards threatening under this turret. WE, they've got the numbers alive, but they don't really have the health bars to translate this into anything massive. They may just concede themselves with a Scuttle Crab and a Cloud Drake on the bottom side, but that's a full reset once again. BLG only losing 2 members, and it was very close to losing a lot more.
That's true. I mean, really, it was just off the back of a hero play coming in from 957 halfway through that fight as Wyatt turned around once again.
It's also 694, so watch the Rakans engage here. He charms up all of them except for Road, and Mystic was the one caught out of position. So with the Mystic caught, he stayed alive for an extra second and a half, simply because of the work that you're able to get from that Rakan. And then there's enough time to get the remount, follow up with the rest of the fight. And with the carry dead of Team W, the major consistent damage source dead of WE, it was a big ask for them to win that fight as a follow-up. And Mystic needs to be a little bit more careful in future with his positioning.
I mean, that was the thing, right? He pushed all the way through, and we had that mini kind of timeout at the very start of that fight where he could have actually repositioned with his team, but for some reason he just felt super comfortable being on the right side of the fight and saying, well, I have Arcane Shift and Flash, I should be fine. But at that point, it was just a 4-1 separation, and BLG instantly moved towards the 1. And that is like BLG and teamfights. You know, they will identify these things. You can't ever sleep on the fact that BLG will be able to beat you in these situations. So.
But mispositionings against a Sivir ultimate, against a Morgana Shirelia's and a Mundo move speed bonus on his ultimate as well, is that ever really something that you can afford to do? Mispositionings will get punished very actively and very quickly by BLG's composition, and they do exactly that, and they find themselves Mystic, and that's what keeps them not just in the fight, but extending their stay in this game by a significant amount.
Just the fact that that happened. I mean, WE, they're looking for a much bigger win off the backside of a fight like that. You know, they won the first 2 fights of the game pretty handily, but since then we haven't really had any action. Barely any picks. In fact, no picks up until that fight right there. So WE, that's the point where they want to be like, okay, break open the game, find multiple kills, move towards the Baron, and use the Baron to finish off the game.
They should still be feeling confident to do it again, though. Like, when you actually press your tab button, you know, look at the items that are completed, you'll see that it's 3 for WE's carries, it's 2 for BLG's carries. Right now is a very good window of opportunity to start threatening more aggressively in your stancing around the Baron objective itself. Force BLG to come to you again and use that Kled charge. But the thing that WE's composition excels at is not just doing the Baron while they can. They've got a lot of front lines, they've got a Blade of the Ruined King. It's also picking people off in their transit to the objective itself. Having an Ezreal with a lot of damage, having Xie with the potential to flank someone as well and blow them up. As long as he doesn't distort into walls in the process.
It's fine. Theoretically, no one was looking.
Just the entire world.
Just us and all the viewers. But BLG
Here comes the charge again.
Who are they looking for, though? Because there's a pillar in the way, so he's going to have to route all the way around this one. Oh, he's found Road. Doesn't quite get this one. And Road finds the Blast Cone on the backside. Successful disengage by BLG.
Teleport comes in from Amazing J. The Shockwave.
Shockwave's good. Lands onto 2. Front line is still tanking, though. Trundle is about to get blown up, but he flashes away on this one. And Amazing J continues to move forward. But look at the rest of BLG. They want out of this one. Road around the side looking for a binding. Shoots it towards Mystic. He dodges out of the way. Shit. Over the wall. Amazing J still pushing forwards. And for now, WE have been pushed back.
WE can find themselves next to the backside of that red buff. And suddenly BLG, they get entryway to the middle lane. They push WE out. And it's going to be 1 turret for certain. And now we get to see what they want to do after the fact, because they've got more control around the Baron. They've got the vision set up. They can afford to recall and reset their vision to keep that area empowered, and they are going to get towards their item spikes after that fight happens. Again, more time purchased from just a successful disengage. Really well done from Road at the start.
I mean, what does that mean in like real terms? I think past the 15-minute mark, they've essentially doubled the game time here, BLG. Looking towards the Baron once again. WE sees his opportunity to look at Shia over the wall, looking for an assassinate onto Chieftain. Doesn't have flash, doesn't have ult, and has no health. BLG pushing forward to Amazing J on the front lines once again, but Baron at 3k HP, looking for the burst damage. They bring it down. It goes over to Trundle. BLG backing away. Baron successfully picked up by WE.
It just caught on the disengage there, BLG, very obviously, and now they're on again.
Shockwave, that's all it was, into the dissonance. Mo was thinking about more, low on mana, the rest of the team didn't feel it. See if we can find some exit frags, not the case. WE take control once again.
It means they're able to walk away, WE. They earn their recalls, they use the essence shift out of the Shockwave as well, so he covers extra distance and survives. Now, they secure the objective. Xie does most of the work there, pushing out Chieftain, meaning that they can't even consider a fight for the objective. So they just have to call it quits. And the reason they're able to even start that Baron off is because BLG, they stayed, they chose to get the outer turret. And whilst that is a good way to get yourself some extra gold and control of the map, it does open a window of opportunity for your opponents to take away or at least start and force that major objective. So they get it and they get out clean.
Xia again on a side lane. Jinjiao would have just seen him, so he knows he's around the area. Just be careful, he's controlling this brush. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad is in the mid lane, taking down this middle turret. And of course, this is the Baron power play in effect. How much can WE take away from this one? Because remember, if they don't make serious damage into BLG's base, they will buy more time and then look for another late game team fight.
It is a really hard thing to deal with, Ezreal. You see the Shockwave's definitely going to whiff there. Mole reactively tries to throw that one out. Now, because it's an Orianna against the Baron buff, you have the standard mid-range to try and clear the wave. That is well and truly in the Ezreal wheelhouse, where he's just going to throw Mystic shots on top of you constantly, and you will slowly start to get poked away. WE, they've finally realized this fact. They group around their AD and Mystic, and they try and open the floor to him.
Amazing J, he's the one walking forward right now, but he's caught on the pillar. Gonna walk it off. He is a Mundo at the end of the day with a Warmark, so it'll be okay to do this.
But they're winning the 3 in the 1-3-1 right now. Yeah. WE are feeling so empowered.
I mean, look at this mid lane tower. It's about to drop. This Cannon is going to do it alone. Here comes the charge immediately off the break. In from the top lane, in from the bot lane, looking for a full collapse. But the rest of the team backing away from this. 957. He's the only one thinking about this engage. That's not your base gate. You can't walk through that. You're a Kled. Okay, go all the way around. Amazing J throwing clears over the wall, but they've cracked open the mid lane.
Yeah, they get the tower. They get the flash from Mole also, so flash shockwave not going to be a possibility. Jinjiao still has a lot of wave clear, and I really like what WE did to try and break this base. It's by forcing the 1-3-1. Sivir cannot be in all 3 lanes, where usually a Sivir composition can just hold that single lane for hours.
Oh, hello. Mole getting caught out, and again, he's played for the full. Xie dips and dives around him, and that's the second shockwave hitting nothing.
I mean, the sad reality for Mole is that if he doesn't throw the shockwave, he may die. So he has to, and he is going to lose it again. It's not going to hit the target, so for another minute, that is going to be down. And WE, they get the inhib mid. Now they get entryway to the top lane where the minions start to be set up. And his Amazing J is trying to brute force them away with just sheer bodying.
I mean, he's doing it, to be fair. This big old Mundo in the top side, just walking towards 3 players, not taking any damage whatsoever. But WB got to be pretty happy with how that went. Did a lot of damage towards the top, the bottom tower, but more importantly, took down the middle inhibitor off of that one Baron push.
Yeah, they even got the perfect recalls off. 18 odd seconds left on the Baron, so they'll get the empowered recalls. They'll get their big item spikes with that mid lane inhib gone. Now, that inhib itself is not the game breaker. Do remember that a Sivir on this composition can sit in the middle lane forever and just clear those waves out, no problems whatsoever. It's the next steps from WE that should be the thing that really breaks this game completely open. And with a 10,000 gold lead, it's entirely capable for them to go anywhere on the Rift. I'd have most of the team bottom, maybe the Kled in the top lane. He's still got the teleport there. He can still charge from top to bottom lane once the area to control on the map is so much smaller. So that's where I would expect WE to go right now. Just play solid standard League of Legends.
I just want to note, Rusty, in the last 2 games I've casted, I haven't seen a single dragon that isn't an Infernal and isn't a Cloud Dragon.
You're about to see an Elder. Does that count?
It's not an elemental dragon, is it? It's like the...
Is Captain Planet an elemental person?
I don't know.
He's a combination of...
Yeah, which I would assume no. I mean, is white a color? It's a combination of
So,
all the colors.
Thing is, right?
It's a shade, right?
No, the
Or
thing
like
is,
a tint? Oh, that's Frost.
Elder Dragon empowers and gives you extra buffs on the elements that you have.
Yeah.
So maybe it is actually just an amalgamation of Cloud and Fire in this one, and you're still correct.
Yeah, but at that point, does it make it an element? Because as I said, like, all the colors of the spectrum make white. Whoop, over the wall, rode very low, and he's just detonated by Sheer. And he dabs on him.
Another emote from Sheer.
You
They
can't
just
do that to someone.
force the base, they push forwards. That's a free inhibitor for certain. Road once again finds himself dying. The Shurelya's Morgana does not have a lot of survivability, whilst it has a lot of movement speed. They're able to burst him completely out. WE just playing very solid League of Legends with a lead.
I mean, after all of that, we were like waited 35 minutes and Sheer's like, okay, now's the time. And just like blast Road.
The Dragon team returns.
There you go. In comes the Recon. Look for knockup. Doesn't find anything, but the fight is on. Amazing J low pops the ultimate. In goes 957. He's scored, but that was massive damage coming in from Sheer with a quad distortion coming through. Amazing J canning back to the tower, back to his inhibitor, back to everything that he can really hold on to right now. But that was WE taking the fight, taking the top lane.
They're still pushing. They might look towards the end here, Pulse.
Triple
give it a go.
They're going to give it a shot. First tower's down. Moving. Oh, I don't even know who was there. He's dead now. Mole dies. Amazing J kites back with his point. Probably just going to protect the KDA at this point, because WE barely breaking the sweat this one. Going to take the game just under 40 minutes. Waves the white flag. It's going to be game 1 in Xi'an.
Super good stuff from Team WE, and we mentioned it just before the game ends, but perhaps this is a throwback to the old WE, the powerhouse WE. The WE that you know that went to Worlds in 2017 in terms of a style. They hit 35 minutes, the team comes online, and they just wiped the floor with BLG. No problems whatsoever. Early strength still to be seen from Condi when he gets those kills. The map controlled by them overall. And this team did look good in that game.
I mean, it certainly felt like it, Rusty. You know, we waited for a long, long time, and for a mere second, I started thinking back to an old BLG, but also an old WE, as you were just saying. Whereas it's like, this seems very reminiscent of 2017, or even before that.
2015, 2016, more specifically,
yeah,
I'd say, is when this particular game looks the most like they were before. Now, Team WE, it's their home arena in Xi'an, and they've only won a single set there. So you'll see all the WE fans out in force supporting their team as they finally start to get wins.
It's a big deal for them. Of course, there were moments in which it looked like the old WE. There were moments where you saw cracks in the armor, for certain. I think one major proponent of that was actually Mystic getting split up from the team. Multiple times WE trying to force a play. BLG didn't fall quite into the lap how they wanted it to. So in the end, WE didn't manage to crack open the game in the same way that they wanted to. But in the end, they still managed to close the game. If you're looking at old WE, like past the 35-minute mark, they still broke it, what, barely 3 minutes following that play.
Yeah, I mean, there was only 3 kills for BLG through that entire first game. 2 of them were Mystic, 1 was 694, I believe, as well. So a perfect top half of the map here from Team WE is an immaculate way to start a best-of-3 series, and does come back to the strengths that we've known of them before. And this is like that international 957 buff that you saw from him. Gets the clear.
It was.
It's just doing his role for the team ultimately. Xie was the performer that we have to look at. Because back when WE were just going insane and they were trying to keep themselves up, push towards Worlds last year, he was the one that was playing out of his mind, trying to find those big moments. And he comes back today, he gets the LeBlanc, he's able to make big plays, and he's able to team fight as LeBlanc as well, hitting double distortions onto multiple members in multiple fights. Xie was a very big deciding factor.
And frankly, even in spring, Xie was the one who was keeping WE afloat. I think, if anything else. He was trying his hardest. And now coming into this bit, it seems like the rest of the team is reading from the same page. I particularly want to go back to 957 point. Yes, he's on Kled, so it just looked like he looked way more competent in his plays. Like, watching him just in team fights, like, very rarely will you see 957 just flash forwards into the backline, you know, offensively. Usually he would, like, use it to just assist the team or look to back away from play, not get caught out. But he was way more competent to actually make these plays when it came to crunch time.
And I think what's interesting is that's what the composition kind of required from them. If he's not diving into the front line, onto the back line of the enemy team and threatening their health bars, then they will just blast Xie when he tries to do the same thing. And with all of the spell shields there, someone has to pop them. So you need to hit the bear trap on a rope at the start. You need to hit the charge at the start as well, has to hit the mark and force those spell shields. And he was able to do that during the game, which I thought was outstanding. And then following him going in was also 694. So the number duo there from the support in the top lane worked beautifully in team fights, and 694 was my quiet MVP throughout that game, where I know that Condi also had a very good early pop-off.
That's true. Yeah, Condi in the early game was a major part of the setup for the team, and then in the team fights, I actually think it was the Rakan with the setup, because multiple times it was, yes, the Kled, but usually that was after a Rakan already jumping into the backline. So it was almost a three-pronged assault. It was send in the Rakan, then send in the Kled, then have Xie wipe up whoever's still alive, right? And that's how the team fights felt.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, you also had Xie just sniping people left and right. So for that reason, I think there's a highly likelihood, because of how I know that the MVP system works, probably that Xie is going to get the MVP.
Xie that gets MVP for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Xie is the MVP as we take a look at our man of the match. So congratulations to him on this little bonk play.
And he was very much deserving. You know, you look through all of those stats, they're all flattering and all for very good reason. Xie is an amazing LeBlanc player, and we get to see him strut his stuff on the Rift in this first game, and styling on someone like Mole is not an easy thing to do. Mole is actually a very good player, and Xie is able to make it look too easy when he gets champions like the LeBlanc. And whilst he spent a lot of the game in the side lane afterwards, once it came to team fights, he was hitting the relevant damage, he was finding the marks and on those targets. He was able to make that one work.
This is actually his first man of the match of the entire split. We're week 7, by the way. It's a lot of games.
Like 4 maps.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's not a lot of chance
But
to
even
get
so,
MVPs.
like, I mean, yeah, but even out of 1 out of 4, that still says a lot, right? Because Xie was like the guy in spring, in 2017 and beyond, really. And then when you look at the rest of the team, it seemed like it was hero performances from individual members that maybe scored them games from the offset. So not primarily Xie.
And there's a chance that this is the the start of a comeback, or the start of a reinvigoration, let's say, from W. I'm not going to say it's a comeback. They're very much at the bottom of the table right now. But Mystic was the person getting MVPs in all of the games they won. He was the star of the show. And now for Xie to be able to come back and get MVPs when Mystic's still dealing his damage, that is a positive omen for the Team WE fans out there.
It is for sure. I mean, we are ramping up until the end of the season right now, and again, it's the world split, so if there is any time to play up, it would be right now, but you're right. There's a long way to climb, and like the stars have to align right now for WE to find anything else, but it's possible. I'm saying there's a chance.
I mean, there actually is a chance when you look at their group. They're only 5 set wins away from 2nd place. But when you actually think about that, it's not that bad. They've still got 7 left to play for them after this one, so they're only 3 away from 4th. I mean, it's actually possible for Team WE to make the run because their whole group are dropping sets constantly.
So, Rusty, if we just inserted 2016 WE into this league right now, will they make Worlds?
2016 WE?
Or 2017?
2017?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know, actually, because like the 2017, yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Because think about it, because as you said, they're going back into their group right now. We're basically exiting cross-conference this week, and then next week we'll be back into inter-conference play.
Yeah, regular conference.
So, yeah, exactly. So if you inserted WE into that group,
yeah, I think they'd make the run.
Yeah.
100%. Like, from this moment, they would make the run. I was more thinking, like, the style of that WE, would it work against, the current meta and how it's changed? But I feel like, they'd still be fine, because Condi was a god.
Yeah, pretty much.
Beast.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think we saw, as we said, glimpses of that in this game. I'm not saying it's back to prime time and they're going to be like the team to send to Worlds, but like it seems that they are moving in that direction. So if they come back to that form of glory, that is how they find their chance.
Yeah, and if you're seeing 694 actually playing very well on the support role, then Ben, sadly, whilst Ben is not here, at least there is a replacement that is now playing up as well.
Exactly. And I mean, in the olden days, it was Zero as well who was filling those shoes. So it's still basically going back to the way it used to work. For now, though, we are going to take a short break. But when we get back, we'll be flying back into Xi'an.